Real people, real opinions, Real Talk Radio. The multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.
Ireland's classic hits.
Do you believe that vaping should be banned? Or
I
not
think
banned?
It should be. I vaped for about 1 year straight. Now I got really deep into it. I was making my own juices, I was making my own coils, and I had the full, smog machine going. And
I've seen that with cars in front of me on the road, and you see the smog coming out of the car.
I had people looking at me thinking my car was on fire. Like, literally, they'd pull up beside me on the road and they'd be like, what is wrong with him?
Yeah, so, some of the juices have a lot more smoke, or not smoke, vape out of them. Yeah.
When you get into the whole competition vaping where they blow the biggest rings and they can do the double vapes and all, it gets pretty insane.
I tried it. So when I was vaping, I tried all of that, yeah. My flavour, by the way, was vanilla, by the way, when I was vaping. Yeah.
But my argument with vaping, nice one, yeah. Mine was cookies and cream, I think. I think it's gas, isn't it? But my argument for vaping, is that I think, okay, it's less harmful, therefore it's okay to do all the time. Like, that's the kind of mistake I think people make. I used to say, it's 95% less harmful, but it's still harmful if you're vaping. Like my vape would be right beside my bed, and I'd literally be like, it'd be like a pacifier. I'd be vaping non-stop for literally hours on end.
Somebody said to me today that vaping is no more dangerous than the pollution that's out in the atmosphere from buses and trains and everything else that goes going by. I'm going, okay, I completely agree with you. But in saying that, we would rather not have the pollution in society. You understand what I'm saying? So we're only adding to it. And I don't mean for the passerbys, because I don't believe there's such thing as passive vaping, by the way.
There's no such thing as passive vaping.
No, I don't believe there is.
Yeah.
No, I think there's just passive arseholes who tell people not to do it in front of them because they just don't like the smell of it or something like that. Telling somebody that you shouldn't be allowed to vape outside beside them is like saying to somebody, I don't like your perfume. Do you know what I mean?
Well, can I just point out, Noel, I've often been outside places and I'll have a vape. And it's very, very rare that you'd get someone saying to you, I don't usually, it's either the smell of strawberries and cream or the smell of, pineapple and apple, or the smell of burning cigarettes. And people usually turn around and go, oh, that's lovely, what's that? And you have to explain what the flavour is. Oh, that's gorgeous, that is. But again, it's to do with people's choices. The only reason why it worked for you, let's say, for the period that you were on it, was because you found a flavour you like. And what Australia done was they originally started with banning flavours. Flavours is what makes vaping.
Well, Australia are not the only ones, by the way. Other countries that have done similar legislation is Singapore and Thailand. And Ireland, by the way, are set to bring in, laws for vaping under the age of 18. They'll be passed in mid-July, I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the problem is,
the reality of it is that should be brought in. And I think vaping shouldn't be sold in kiosks by people who don't know what they're doing.
What about these disposable vapes? I mean, surely, Alan, you can agree that the convenience of these disposable vapes is targeted at teenagers.
It's not. It's targeting people. It's giving them every option that they can get to get people off the cigarettes. That was the whole goal of vaping when it was first introduced, where a Chinese guy, because of his father dying of cigarette smokes. It was invented to get people off cigarettes, and it has worked.
Then have it prescribed. Why should you be able to go into a petrol station and buy a blueberry raz lemonade? This is the problem. Alan, if I could just get, you're coming from a well-informed perspective, an adult perspective, but you have to consider too, and this is what vapers who are big into it, they don't see the teenager coming out of school and they're hanging around Mr. Vapes, and they're there for hours. When I lived in Galway, they'd be there for hours until they got their hit, and then they'd be off. And this is the thing, it's hooking so many young people onto nicotine, and then what happens is you dual smoke, so you vape and you smoke. So I think the damage is way worse than the benefit.
Okay, let him respond to you. Philip.
Okay, what you have to remember is, you're right, teenagers are vaping, and they shouldn't be. That's why it should be sold in garages, and it shouldn't be sold in corner stalls or wherever it may be. It should be sold and bought in vape shops and vape shops.
Should it
only.
be
No
over? But
restrictions
should it be
on
over 18s, Alan? Should it be over 18s?
Oh God, yeah. Well, it's cigarettes over 18s.
Yeah.
Cigarettes are over 18. So
Well, vaping is not.
The point I'm trying to make is the point I'm trying to make.
Just if I can get in on it.
Yeah. Hang on, let Alan
Just give
finish.
me 1 second. The point I'm trying to make is, yes, there are kids standing outside vape shops, but for as long as I can remember, I'm 53 years of age, there was kids standing there with off licenses and outside shops asking to buy the cigarettes. Don't point this out as a standalone item. It's not.
Yeah, but the figures
Kids
speak.
have been
Yeah, but
doing what
Alan,
they're not allowed to.
hang on. The figures are quite startling. 18% of 16-year-olds in Ireland are vaping. 18%.
Yeah.
That's 1 in every 4 kids, almost, are
There's
vaping.
Two parts to that answer. Firstly, 18% are smoking or are vaping. How many of them have? What's the smoking rate for young people? Because in England, the smoking rate for young people has dropped considerably.
Yeah, but it should be dropping faster, because when you look at the smoking rate for society and how quickly it's dropped over the last 20 years, you know, young people now shouldn't be smoking, because young people now are very educated. They know the dangers of smoke. We didn't when we started smoking going back 30, 40 years ago. We didn't know the dangers, not as much as they do now. They're very educated young people. They wouldn't be doing something, but they're being told. They're being told, Asher, vaping is 95% safer. You can get it with cherry flavour.
Exactly.
You can get, look at this, isn't it lovely and sexy, and it smells gorgeous. And it's being made attractive to hook them in. Sorry, go ahead, Philip.
I just want to say, to a smoker, 95% safer sounds great. But to a non-smoker teenager, 95% safer sounds like, sure, it's grand. I'll pick up a vape and I'll go on the piss with me mates. So that's the problem. To a smoker, it's helpful. To a teenager, it's something that's going to hook them to something. And that's the danger. That's the
and by the way, just in relation, just to mention in Australia as well, the TGA website says there are currently no nicotine vaping products approved by the Therapeutic Goods Administration, which is like their drugs administration centre, that are registered in Australia. So in other words, nicotine vaping products are unapproved in Australia anyway.
Well, can I give you an example in the UK?
Yeah.
In the UK, 5 hospitals in the UK have open vape shops in them. Because
I don't know if I agree with that, but that's
no. Hang on, let me just finish. Well, it doesn't matter whether you agree or not. They've done it, and some people will agree, but some people won't. But not only that, they're now looking at giving out vape pod kits and stuff like that.
Oh no, they do. I know the NHS have been doing that for a few years now.
Yeah.
They've been doing that
because it is getting people off the cigarettes, and their approach is, if people are not getting ill from vaping,
better the devil you know than the devil you don't. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, no one has ever died from vaping.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Alan. I'm not disagreeing with you. And I would much prefer to see some young kid vaping than smoking.
Here's the problem.
Absolutely. But hang on. No, hang on, Philip, because I need to bring Kathleen in as well. I'm going to come back to you, Philip and Alan. Stay there. Kathleen, Kathleen, you're in Ireland's Classic Hits Radio. How you doing, Kathleen?
Hello now. Everything under 18s, it's a no-no for me.
Yeah.
Cigarettes, well, young people, if they don't, and I know it's not part of the topic, we're talking vaping. I vape myself. I've been vaping for about 4 years now. I was a heavy smoker for a lot of years, and I thank God now that I gave up the cigarettes and just have my vape. But now, another thing does creep up with a lot with young people. If they don't vape, they don't smoke cigarettes, then I'm going to tell you, I'm in the inner city, they're going to use weed. And there's a lot of young people, that's the alternative that they're doing. That's the reality.
Would you prefer, if they're going to do one or the other, which would you prefer?
Vaping,
they're going to do
every time, but not for under 18.
And the reality of it is, you would prefer them not to drink, but they're going to drink. They brought out
of course they are. That's going to die with it. I said,
don't give them any option.
So we all went to drinking when we were underage, for God's sake, because everybody done that.
I do think
would you rather they did?
Okay, one at a time.
Can I get in now?
Yeah, Philip.
Would you rather they did nitrous oxide? I mean, just because it's an option doesn't mean there needs to be a would you rather. Like you're giving kids another option to damage themselves. so you can quote unquote quit smoking. But what happens is you don't quit smoking because you don't quit nicotine. So
well, now, Philip, with respect, Philip, I do know people. I'll hang on, Philip. I do know people who went to vaping and then got off the vaping by reducing the amount of nicotine they were using, and eventually got off both. So I do know people who did use it as a cessation product, although it's not approved as a cessation product. I do know from people that's worked.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people who get addicted to the vape.
No, I'm not saying there isn't, but you know, it has helped a lot of people. There's probably people alive today because they went to vaping.
I just want to make this one last point. We're helping. Can I just make this one last point? We're helping people, but we're also putting damage onto teenagers. So just because we're helping a few adults quit smoking, which I agree does happen, doesn't justify having blueberry raz lemonade sold in a circle, whatever. I won't say where, because this is the problem. Are we that selfish as adults that we need to have this prop to help us quit nicotine, and then we're going to hoist it onto young people? I just don't.
Okay, so sorry. Well, Alan, do you want to get in there and defend your vaping there?
I do.
Go ahead, Alan.
First of all, I want to say, listen, vaping wasn't invented to encourage kids to take it up. It was invented to help smokers to quit cigarettes, and it has done its job, and it has done its job very well. There's a lot of people, as was said, there's a lot of people alive today because of vaping. Now, it is there, and all the different, teenagers, I didn't hit 53 years of age, and all of a sudden decide I don't like strawberries. I like strawberry vapes. And the reality of it is, they're making it for people like me who did smoke. With relation to the nicotine end of it, I started on 16 milligrams of nicotine I started on in 2015. And within 2 months, I was down to 10 milligram. At the moment, I vape, and I'm down to 1% nicotine, or 1 milligram of nicotine.
Very good.
So,
are you ever going to quit though? Like, do you think you can quit tomorrow, Alan?
To you, please?
Well, hang on. Let Kathleen just say something before I go to Tony. Go ahead, Kathleen.
I just want to say this before I go. Right? I wish I could reduce. I'm on 16 milligrams of oil. For my vape.
Well, if you are going to reduce, Kathleen, I will say, go down to 12 and stay on that. Even though you might feel like you can go down lower, stay on that for 2 or 3 months.
I wish I could.
Go down very, very slowly. You will.
Yeah, I will try.
Yeah, but the only thing I will say to all of you is, when I was vaping, I found that I was overdosing on nicotine, because I'll tell you why. It was so convenient that I was doing it in the house because it wasn't upsetting anybody else. So I was doing it all the time. Even when I was doing the show, I used to get in trouble with my old boss in Classic Hits because I was doing it in the studio. So while I was talking to you guys on the air, I was sucking away here by lowering down the microphone every now and again. So it was easy because nobody noticed, because the person in the next day didn't notice the smell of smoke.
People probably like the flavour.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, that's not good for me, because I was ODing on nicotine. I was just doing it all the time. Where they say, if you are a vapor and you've stopped smoking and you want to go on to vapes, 12 sucks of your vape is equivalent to 1 cigarette. So they say.
Well, 1 cigarette, you get about 8 pulls off a single cigarette.
Okay.
And I always tell people, when you're vaping, remember, don't put it down. A lot of people that I have spoken to have taken it up and failed and gone back to smoking. And what I always said to them was, always keep it beside you. Don't put it down. Don't get rid of it. Have it there, though, so you don't get the urge for a cigarette.
So we'll stay there for a second. Let me just go to Tony as well. Tony, or in Ireland's Classic Hits Radio. How you doing, Tony?
How
you doing, Tony? The reason we're talking about it is Australia have now banned the disposable vapes, and they're getting rid of flavours and all that kind of stuff. So do you think Ireland should do the same thing?
I think absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think I tried them for myself there one time. I'm a smoker at the moment. I smoke maybe 7 to 8 cigarettes a day.
Okay.
And I tried the vaping there a couple of years ago, and I found it extremely hard on my lungs. I found it very, very bad. Now, maybe it was just me, but...
yeah, I found it difficult too. It tends to make you cough a little bit as well, yeah.
You know why that is?
because I'm used to smoking.
No, your lungs are clear.
Maybe you could be right, Alan. You could be right. I don't know.
That's not true. If you kept going, if you kept vaping for long enough, your lungs will eventually clear of the nicotine and the tar. That's what causes the problem. The tar in the cigarette.
I know. It's and the chemicals which kill you. Yeah, the carcinogenics.
That clears from your lungs after.
Yeah. Okay. And Tony, have you ever thought of going cold turkey?
Sorry?
Have you thought about going cold turkey?
No. No, what I have against the vaping is I think I have a daughter there of 14 and I have a son of 23. My daughter, as far as I know, doesn't smoke or vape or anything. My son does vape. But I hear him there at times and he's coughing. And it's absolutely horrendous. And as I said, I tried it myself one time. Actually,
but it would be fair to say, Tony, I'm not endorsing either, by the way, but it's a hell of a lot safer than you smoking your 7 cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah? That's a scientific fact. Sorry. Yeah. I'm just saying it's 94 or 95%, I think it was 94 actually, the NHS said, percent safer than you smoking your cigarette. I'm not saying it's a good thing, by the way.
Hmm?
I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's a lot safer than you smoking 7 or 8 cigarettes a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry, Philip. What are you trying to say, Philip?
I was just going to say, no, like that's in a lab. So that's if you're one vape to one puff of a cigarette. So then it all checks out. But the problem is with the vape, you vape a lot more, and also when you go on a night out, what happens is they call it dual smoking. So you vape and you smoke, which I did, and they say that is way worse than smoking.
Yeah, I did that too, Alan. I did that for a while.
People do. And as well, Alan, it clears your lungs out like pure, that's just misinformation. I'm sorry. Like, it actually destroys the capillaries in your lungs. It actually collapses a lot of I can pull up an article I have right in front of me now from medical publications that says to the contrary. Yeah, I can pull up an article here that says to the contrary, that says that it collapses your air sacs and the vessels, blood vessel damage. Studies using rats said they were exposed to various substances, and it said that inert carbon nanoparticles were basically damaging the interior of your lung linings. So there are studies out there.
I mean, Alan, well, hang on for a second. Alan, going back to the 5% damage rather than the 100% that smoking would do, you can't deny, and there have been studies done that show, that it can do some level of damage. Now, again, this is based on the type of machinery you're using, the type of coils you're using. You are inhaling not just vape, but heat, because you have to remember those coils burn at a high temperature. And I've often, took a suck out of me vape. I had a smock, I think was the name of the one that I used to have. I took a hit out of it, and the coil would be going or something. You get this burn down your throat. So, that kind of stuff can do damage to people. You know what I mean?
It can, but it's substantially. Look, no one is saying vaping is safe. Everybody should take it up. Don't have dessert. Instead of eating a dessert, have a strawberry vape. No one is saying that. No one is saying it is a healthy option, but it is a substantially healthier option than what is the alternative. Now, in relation
but in society, when things are dangerous or we consider them to be unhealthy, we like to get rid of them.
We do, yeah, but there's an awful lot of false evidence and false reports coming out.
I know, about the popcorn lung and all that kind of nonsense, yeah.
Well, I'll give you another one as well. Have you ever looked up a report in relation to the chap? I'm sorry, I can't remember what your name
Philip
was.
is his name.
Philip, yeah.
Philip, sorry, Philip, I apologise. But one thing I will say, you were looking at that report, and the first thing I said to you was that out of America? Now,
I don't think so.
It's hang on, you said it was PubMed, didn't you? You said it was you said you were reading that from PubMed?
Yeah, I think so.
Most of those articles are from the United States. Yeah, PubMed are usually from the
NIH, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let me just tell you this one thing. Has anyone have you ever look up a report? Sorry, not have you. Do this. Look up for a report for the MSA in America. The MSA stands for Master Settlement Agreement. Okay. Now, I just want you to bear with me for a moment. The Master Settlement Agreement was set up, I think, 1975 or 76 or something along them lines, and it was an agreement that the tobacco companies will pay each state a portion of the sale of a packet of cigarettes if the government agrees not to hold any more lawsuits in relation to smoking. So what happened was each state, now a good example was California. California was earning close to 4 or 5 billion a year from the tobacco industries through smoking. So it was in a state's best interest to support smoking while showing we don't support this. Okay?
Yeah.
So every report coming out of America is based off of funded payments. So you can get any report you want about any illness you want.
Yeah.
You know, based on who is giving you the money for the further research.
Yeah, well, I think we've seen that during COVID. You can get a report to say anything you wanted to say.
Okay. I forgot about COVID. That's a good example. Yeah.
Like, but one thing to note on that.
Yeah, well, okay. I think the point's been made clear in relation to. I think, Philip, we need to stick with the argument. The argument is, yes, it is safer than smoking. Yes, it's 94% or 5% safer than smoking. But your argument is also correct that it would be better to be doing neither. And nobody's disagreeing that. So let's stick to the point. So Australia have banned them. Tony believes they should be banned. And Tony, the reason you believe they should be banned is because you found them difficult to use. That's not really a reason to ban them, is it?
You're listening to Nighttime Talk with Niall Boylan.
With recruit.ie. Download our job search app today. Search for recruit.ie in your smartphone app store.
Ireland's classic hits radio.
All right, keep texting, keep WhatsApping. The number's 087 188 0008. Let's get your calls here. We've only got about 8 minutes left of this. Should we ban vaping altogether? Because in Australia, here when I hear the news say it's all over RTE, they basically said that those flavours are going to be banned, and also the disposable vapes. Now, we've all seen the disposable ones, which makes it very convenient for people to buy them, particularly young people. And with the rise in young people using vapes, 18%, or should I say, sorry, 21%. I've lost this, right? 18% of 16-year-olds are vaping. 16-year-olds, 18%. So if we go up to 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds, you can increase that figure, which is quite really disturbing, isn't it, to be honest with you? Keep texting, keep WhatsApping. The number is 087 188 0008. Sorry, I lost everybody in a bit of a rut there. Sorry, getting back to Tony as well, by the way. Tony, are you still there?
Hello, no.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Okay, I want to establish why you want them banned, because you're a smoker, Tony.
I am, yeah.
And what you're doing is less safe than vaping. So how would you feel if I said to you, should we ban smoking?
To be honest with you, I'd agree with you.
You'd probably agree. And I smoke and I'd agree with me, to be honest with you.
That might sound totally upside down now, but my opinion on smoking, it was always, I've smoked from a very young age. I've never been a really heavy smoker. As I said, I've stopped on a few occasions here and there, you know, but I still ended up smoking, back to smoking, as I said. I did try the vapes, but a couple of years ago, but it wasn't the same as a cigarette, obviously. You know, maybe that's why I went back smoking cigarettes. But as I said earlier on, Niall, I see a lot of young people out there, and whether they start off with the intention of smoking, I think it'll be only a matter of time that they'll move from the vape to cigarettes, not the other way around.
Mm. Yeah, and it does,
Yeah.
And it concerns me too. You know what I mean? And that young people are going to be in that situation. You know?
Yeah, you know, I mean, like, I'm sure there's a lot of young people out there. If there wasn't any vapes, and that they may have never smoked, and I think that as time goes on, that people will kind of, it's like non-alcoholic beer or Gordon's gin, non-alcoholic gin. I fail to see the point in somebody buying a bottle of non-alcoholic gin, to be quite honest with you.
No, I don't see the point of it either. It seems like a waste of money, if you ask me. Why not just buy a Coke? You know what I mean? Or a Red Bull or something. I don't know. I would say there. Let me go to Kieran as well. Kieran, you're on Ireland's Classic Hits Radio. How you doing, Kieran?
Hi, how you get on?
God, you don't believe they should be banned?
No. Basically, I was, for about 20 years, I was a smoker, 20 to 60 a day.
Yeah.
And got myself a nice case of emphysema out of it as well.
Oh, gosh. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that.
Vaping. Oh, that's what you get. You know, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, there's somebody on the radio on the background there. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I quit smoking in 2014, and then I quit vaping in 2020 around the time of the coronavirus. Had I not been, basically had I not had the vaping, I'd probably still be smoking, and at this stage I'd probably actually be dead now.
Yeah,
so,
I understand. And by the way, I'm not suggesting it didn't save lives. I think vaping probably in the last 10 years, since it became popular, has probably saved lives. People who otherwise may have got lung cancer, it certainly has saved lives. There's no doubt about it. But in saying that, giving up smoking would have been better for those people as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, going from one vice to another, and the danger is now when we have young people attracted to what has become trendy and cool because of the flavours. We're now growing a generation who are becoming addicted to nicotine through vapes.
Yeah, actually, I completely agree on that part. If you look at, say, in the United States, I think the gigantic company Juul had about 75% of market share. It's a mass business. I can see where the Aussies are coming from as well in banning certain types.
It's like those Alco-Pops. Remember years ago, the Alco-Pops now they banned the Alco-Pops. They got rid of them because, again, it was attracting young people to drink alcohol.
Yeah, but there's the thing with banning the Alco-Pops is there was something actually there to fall back to. With vapes, basically, you've got effectively three choices. You can vape, you can smoke analog cigarettes, or you can go on to something more drug-like, basically an actual schedule.
Well, you have four choices. You can do none of the above.
Well, that's the thing. If you're trying to convince young people, I'm saying over 18, nobody under 18 should be smoking anything, as far as I'm concerned. But if you're over 18, if they're going to the pub, you're going to a club, you're going to have to give them an option.
Yeah.
And if the choice is there between, right, do I want them smoking analogs, do I want them smoking ganja, or do I want them smoking vapes? A properly regulated market, and that's, I think, to me, is the crucial part. Properly regulated vaping system, that is, you can do that. You mentioned there earlier, and you're spot on. You were basically ODing, you were overdosing on the vape. And they can basically put in triggers on these things, because it's basically just a small circuit. They can put a trigger in that says, look, you can only press the trigger and get a hit, say, for 3 or 6 seconds out of every minute. That's not to kind of prevent that ODing situation.
But that's not going to work for most people, because most people then are just going to buy a different one that doesn't do that and restrict you, because that wouldn't have made me happy, because I wanted that unrestricted. And I'm looking at some of the comments online on Facebook. Margaret says, for example, ban it, not healthy, so little or no better than smoking cigarettes. Anita says, we don't sell cigarettes in pharmacy. Why would we sell vapes? Top fan Miloza says, majority of teenagers vape these days, not only 18%, should be the same as cigs, sales only over 18s, and tax it so much that it'll put people off. I wouldn't ban it completely, but make it unaffordable for teenagers. And Anne Murphy says, yes, get rid of the vapes and the fags and let the kids smoke dope and sniff cocaine and open lots of centres to shoot up legally. Is the world gone insane or what? I personally think Ireland was a nicer, calmer place when we all smoked ciggies. I don't know if that's actually true or not. Sorry, Philip.
Just listening to Kieran, it makes a lot of sense. And as someone who, was on and off the smokes, it's great to hear that vaping helped me. So I do think, can we, in a way, have it for smokers? So let the doctor prescribe it to you. You go and pick up your Juul or your vape, and that does you then to help you. Because I think what smokers need really is courage to say, I can quit nicotine. Because when you're on the vape, there does come a stage where you have to say to yourself, I have to quit the vape. So the real problem is nicotine. So vaping, smoking, whatever it is. Now, this is the Alan Carr Easy Way to Stop Smoking book. This is what helped me. He said, basically, what the vaping is, it's basically you're taking a big stone out of your shoe and you're putting a smaller stone in. So at some stage, you have to say to yourself, I'm going to take the stone out. So I think take it away from the free market, take it away from the petrol stations, and give it to a sort of prescription-based service. I'd love to hear what you think about that, but
I don't know if the pharmacies would be interested in doing it, because you're asking a pharmacist to sell you something that's not good for your health. And that goes against their ethos. So that I
suppose that's the NHS way of, they view it as harm reduction. So they've gone the harm reduction way, which is sort of, Alan was saying that, and I think Kieran, you're saying that too, that the harm reduction way is something that, doctors and pharmacists maybe could get on board with. Instead of taking it away.
Wait. Just curious to ask all three. I've only got 20 seconds before the news here. I'll ask all three. Well, I asked Tony already. Kieran, should we ban cigarettes completely?
Ban cigarettes? Yes. Ban vaping? No.
Okay, Philip, should we ban cigarettes?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. And all smokers, by the way. Tony's already said yes, and he still smokes 7 or 8 a day. Give him up, Tony.
I know. I'm like one to vape.
Maybe we'll do it together, Tony. We'll do it together. I'm going to do it in the next week or two. Definitely. I've promised myself I'm going to do them. All right, listen, Kieran, thanks very much. And Kieran, by the way, how's your health, Kieran, now? How are you feeling?
Oh, great.
Now,
my health
much better.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that.
So
emphysema is not a good thing.
It is genuinely never too late.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, just no matter what happens, do it your way. Don't do it, don't listen to somebody else.
No, you have to want to do it, don't you, really?
Get the strongest mod you can. Don't go for the little tiny skinny ones. They won't work for you. Go for something nice and heavy that'll get you through and will get you over that hump to the other side, and then you can quit the whole lot.
All right, listen, lads, Philip, Tony, everybody, thanks for getting involved in the conversation.
Real people, real opinions, Real Talk Radio, the multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.
Ireland's classic